Hey there, this is the One Boom, and today we're going to be talking about Call of Duty again, because this has been on my mind because I've been playing it quite often, and I wanted to talk about balance and get your guys' opinion on this. So after the latest update to... Oh man, it's been years and I still fuck up this bad. Okay, so after the last update to COD World War II, they added unlimited sprint for everybody, but reduced the sprint multiplier from 1.4 times to 1.3 times. To me, this has created an unusual balance problem. It doesn't ruin the game, it hasn't really tanked my experience, but I would like to see this tweaked because I think, you know, and this is just in my own head, I want to get this out here so we get some feedback on it, but I think it would greatly improve the game to make this change I'm about to propose. So I'm just gonna hop right into this and say it, I want rifles to be heavier. This was a point I made on a live stream a while back. I can't even find it, I don't even know if that live stream is public. I might have said bad words in it or something, I don't know. But the thing is I was talking to somebody in the chat about the BAR being overpowered, and I said it's not really a problem with the power of the BAR. I made the point that the BAR should hit like a goddamn truck. It should be a really powerful rifle. But in real life, it's much, much heavier than the average rifle we're used to today, or even some of the rifles back then. It had its own handle. It was a pretty hefty gun. Different variants of the BAR weighed from about 16 pounds to about 24 pounds. There's a reason it had a built-in carrying handle. I don't really care about realism in video games too often, especially when it comes to my games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. I don't want them to go for realism over balanced rules. But it is kind of striking to me that Call of Duty doesn't take weight into account more often when balancing weapons. And one of the things I think contributes to Call of Duty basically having an assault rifle meta, yes, I even think in Black Ops 2 their assault rifles were better than the SMGs. Because although SMGs at close range might be better because of the ability to, you know, draw them faster after sprinting, the thing is that the ARs aren't too far behind in that count, and they can take people out from across the map. Like, honestly, some Call of Duty games don't even need sniper rifles. I would say one of the big ones is Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and Call of Duty Ghosts. Those three games had such accurate assault rifles that you could counter-snipe people even if they were fully automatic, tap firing not required. So I think that more than makes up for the slightly slower draw time. But in COD World War II, the draw time doesn't seem to be taken into effect, and I'm getting rushed by every weapon imaginable. People charge at me with Lewis guns, people charge at me with BARs, STGs, M1 Garands. I don't think these guns need recoil buffs or damage reductions. I don't think the M1 Garand needs to be a 4-shot kill or the STG needs to be a 5-shot kill. Some people have proposed those types of things, and I think that's ridiculous. I think Call of Duty should start taking weight into account. Put that in the descriptions of guns and have a little bar in the little stat sheet in the game that says weight. You shouldn't be able to run up on someone with a BAR as if it was an SMG, and yet more times than not, I have the SMG, they have a BAR and STG, and it's an equal fight most of the time. I usually take several hits before killing them or I die. I think I should have the upper hand in those close quarters quick draw engagements if I have an SMG. If rifles had to take on a more methodical approach, I wouldn't complain. See, my problem is not that the rifles are overpowered, my problem is that they're too versatile. The ability to just cross-map rush with a gun that can also be used from the range that you started sprinting from, and by that I mean it's a long-range gun that you can also successfully run with. That literally, in my opinion, describes the M1 Carbine, the M1 Garand, the BAR, and the FG42. Or 32, I can never remember the name of that goddamn gun. But even the Volk, other words I can't pronounce, Volkgewehr, Volkgewehr, whatever the DLC rifle they added, that automatic rifle packs a lot of punch, and I don't feel hindered by running around with it, especially with the airborne division. I can be fast and agile with a BAR or an STG, and the SMG playstyle just seems irrelevant to me. And this goes for every Call of Duty for the most part. It's to varying degrees, but I don't really feel like using an SMG in most Call of Duty games. I like some of them. In fact, some of my favorite SMGs are from Call of Duty Ghosts, Modern Warfare 3, Infinite Warfare, but even in those games, I so much more preferred the assault rifles. The MSMC in Black Ops 2 is a god tier weapon, but I'd much rather use the Scar H. In Black Ops 3, the VMP is a great gun, but I'd much rather use a KN-44. The thing is I usually play with assault rifles a little bit more cautiously, and I don't rush people with them. With SMGs, I like to get into people's faces, but When I catch somebody with a BAR sprinting, and I have an MP40, and I lose that engagement even though I started shooting first, and I caught them sprinting, it's like, well, what's the point of using an SMG if they're going to pop me with a rifle before I can pop them with an SMG, which should be the faster, more easily handled weapon. And again, I'm not really talking about realism here. I did bring up the BAR weight because I think more guns in Call of Duty, if they're very powerful, should be heavier. I said that about the Man of War in Black Ops 3. I think the Man of War in Black Ops 3 is a very balanced gun, but at the same time a very versatile, heavy-hitting gun. And I said back then to friends, I didn't really ever make a video on it because I thought I'd get a lot of backlash, but now it's becoming more prevalent, and I've even heard people in free-for-all complain about it, so I'm going to say it. The Man of War should have been heavier. It should have handled more like an LMG. And the draw time on the LMGs needs to go way down. It is very strange to have somebody sprint at me with a Lewis gun confidently because that's how they use it. When every gun can be used aggressively, it kind of removes the purpose of using aggressive guns. Now here's the quick disclaimer at the end of this video to make sure you guys listened all the way through. I do think SMGs are better in close quarters. I do think LMGs are one of the worst things to use in close quarters. I do not think ARs and rifles in Call of Duty are blatantly overpowered and need just a fucking franchise-wide nerf, but I do think the Call of Duty developers, no matter who they are, could take more into account when it comes to the weight of the gun and how quickly it can be used, drawn, aimed down sights, or sprinted with. So have guns like the BAR in Call of Duty, have guns that hit hard, don't kick that much, that's fine, but maybe make it so people can't sprint around corners and pull it up just about as fast as my light and tiny 9mm SMG. Light assault rifles and heavy assault rifles, or battle rifles, would be a very nice distinction for Call of Duty, and I think they should do it. Sprinting around corners is kind of a fool's game anyway, but an SMG should have the upper hand in those situations, and yet, in my experience and from what I've seen, it doesn't always. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you agree with me, let me know. If you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. And maybe I'll do another video about the comments on this video, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'll see you when I see ya. Goodbye.